few weeks ago, we talked about the 10 girls with their oil lamps waiting for the bridegroom. And I wanted to show you some oil lamps that I purchased in Jerusalem last year. These are just replicas, but they're the kind of oil lamps that were probably used in biblical times. They're just simple bowls that you put a wick in and some oil, and they light the way. And I was thinking about those bridesmaids waiting, and I thought we're almost at the season of waiting. Advent, we're waiting for Christmas. So I made 4 oil lamps and made them into my Advent wreath. And now I'm going to show you how you can do that too. Now I'm ready to start. I will list all of the ingredients for you at the end of this so you don't have to copy them down while I make it. First I need 1 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of salt. And I'm going to mix that together. Add 1 tablespoon of oil and 1/2 cup of water. Now at first it might not seem like the right consistency, but as you mix it you will find it is. And then you keep stirring it until it forms a dough. And I'll be right back as soon as I have it all stirred. After you've stirred it well, put a little bit of flour on your table, and it's time to knead it. Now, if it gets too dry while you're kneading it, just add a little bit of water. And if it gets too sticky, you can just add a little bit of flour. Actually, if it gets too dry, the best way is to just wet your hands, and that will get enough moisture to it. So you're just going to pull it back and push, pull it back and push, and you want to do this for about 5 or 6 minutes. Now you can put food coloring in at this point, but you need an awful lot of food coloring and you don't get a real bright color. So I would suggest just leaving it like this, and then at the end of the project we're going to paint it, and the paint will stick to the lamp and it'll make a nice bright color for you. Do you know what colors to make it? An Advent wreath has 3 purple candles and 1 rose-colored candle. So that's what you can do, and then it will look just like an Advent wreath. After you've kneaded it for 5 or 6 minutes, you're going to make it into a roll. If it sticks to your table, just put a little more flour on and it'll stop sticking. And then you're going to take that roll and you're going to cut it into 4 pieces because we need 4 lamps for our Advent wreath. And then take each piece and make it into a small bowl. And then you can take it and make it into this kind of shape if you want. Just put a little notch out there for the wick to stay in. Or you can make it any shape you want. Another shape that I like is this one, where you put a hole in it to hold the wick up. And if you want to do that, then I would suggest taking a soda straw and just putting the straw through the dough, and that will make the hole. And you can take the straw out because the hole will stay while it's drying, or you can leave it in until it's dry. Either way works. But just make sure that you have something like this to hold the wick. Once you have all 4 made, then you need to get a baking pan. You need to preheat the oven to 225 degrees. And you're going to let these dry for about an hour. Or if you don't want to use the oven, you can just let them air dry for 5 days and that will work too. So I'm going to go and put these in the oven and I'll show you what they look like when they get finished. Now, after your lamp has cooled from the oven, and by the way, mine took about an hour and 15 minutes to harden today, and I leave the straw in it to keep that little hole. You can take any kind of craft paint from Michael's or Walmart or wherever you buy your craft supplies, and you can paint it. And remember, for an Advent wreath, you want how many purple ones? 3, yes. And you want 1 rose-colored one. And on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, you will see the priest wearing rose-colored vestments. There's only 2 times a year that he wears rose, and the 3rd Sunday of Advent is one of those. Okay, when you finish that, you're going to take a piece of candle wicking. You can buy this in the candle making supply store in Michael's. They have candle making supplies. And you're going to you're going to leave one end hanging out about an inch, and you're going to put the rest in the reservoir here. And then you're going to fill it with olive oil. And then you let it soak for about 10 or 15 minutes so that the wick gets a lot of oil in it. This one has been soaking for a while. Now this is the part that you need adult for, because you know that fire is a tool, it's not a toy. And they can just light the end of the wick, make sure it has a lot of oil on it, and you will have your oil lamp. I bought a clear plastic tray from the dollar store, and I got some greenery from the dollar store, and that is my Advent wreath. Now there are a lot of places online that you can buy Advent wreath prayers, and I bought one here, and I'm just going to leave it there so we can remember every Sunday in Advent, and then the whole week really, we're going to light our Advent wreath every night at supper time and think about how we're waiting. We're waiting, we have oil in our lamp, and we're waiting for the birth of Jesus on Christmas Day. I hope you enjoy your oil lamp and your Advent wreath, and I'll print the directions at the end of this video.